Franchise Secrets, Eric Von Horn.
If you're not a part of the Franchise Secrets Facebook group, what are you waiting for? It's franchisesecrets.com/Facebook. I cannot believe how valuable this group turned out to be. When someone asks a question, the feedback is honest, authentic, very helpful, and it's from multiple perspectives. If you're not sure that you're getting the most accurate information about franchising, then check out the largest, most helpful Facebook group in all of franchising. Whether you're a Z, a Zor, a buyer, or investor, join our free Facebook group at franchisesecrets.com/Facebook. Welcome to the Franchise Secrets Podcast. Your host, Eric Van Horn, today with Dave Asprey. Right, Dave?
You nailed it.
He's the founder of Bulletproof Coffee, the leading voice in the movement to take control of our own biology. He's been featured everywhere because he's the father of biohacking, because he started a movement and hosts the largest and longest running biohacking conference. Over the last 2 decades, he's worked with world-renowned doctors, researchers, scientists, and global mavericks to uncover the latest, most innovative methods, techniques, and products for enhancing mental and physical performance. He's nearly spent $2 million himself to control his own biology, pushing the bounds of human possibility in the name of science and evolution. Today, he's focused on upgrading humanity in his role of CEO of Upgrade Labs. It's a franchise chain of human upgrade centers. He founded it in 2017 with a mission to help people reach their highest levels of performance, recovery, and cognition. Dave, welcome to the show. And what did I leave out?
Oh, 4 times New York Times bestselling author. My Human Upgrade podcast is in the top 0.1% of podcasts with 250 million downloads. And I'm a dad. There's that.
Well, that's just a little bit better than the Franchise Secrets podcast, but hey, who's really keeping track of all these stats?
Well, you might have 100% of your total addressable market. It just might be a little smaller than mine.
That's right. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I've been a consumer of Bulletproof Coffee, and I've been to one of your labs before. We didn't even talk about that. So I'm a believer in all this stuff. And so when you started to franchise this, I got excited. And then to have you on the podcast, I was super pumped about that. So let's dive into biohacking. Can you give the listeners that may not really understand what that means, or they've heard it before and they don't have a clear understanding of what it is?
It's a movement, it's a community, and it's a new word in the English language. In 2018, Merriam-Webster's added it, and my name is in the online dictionary, which I never thought would happen as a former fat computer hacker. The definition that I wrote, which isn't quite like theirs, but it's the art and science of changing the environment around you and inside of you so that you have control of your own biology. And it was something I created to unite Navy SEALs, neuroscientists, longevity people who do really crazy stuff to live a long time, bodybuilders. I mean, you want to get swole, you better have control of your biology. People who are studying hormones, all of the above. And what unites us all, we just wanted it to work better.
So when the average person out there thinking about biohacking, thinking about like biohacking and franchising, where do the two meet? Like this is kind of like you were the leader in this, obviously, but like why franchising? Why biohacking franchising?
Well, I opened the first one of these. I used to call it Bulletproof Labs as I was figuring it out. So I invented this category. So functional coffee, MCT oil, collagen, those are all like billion-dollar categories that I started. And when I look at a biohacking facility, I've spent $1 million on gear that's here at my labs on Vancouver Island in order to hack my own biology. I thought, well, maybe I could share this. So we opened underneath Arnold Schwarzenegger's office in Santa Monica. He's directly above us. Every now and then you see his car out back. So that's cool. Problem is, you actually don't make money in a biohacking facility. Anyone out there listening, and I have tons of people who come in like, oh, look, you have this kind of equipment. I'm just going to get the same thing. No. It's what do you do in what order for which person in order to get results? Okay, that's step one. I've got that. We have Hollywood elites coming through all the time at Upgrade Labs. The only problem is, how do you make money doing that? And it's easy to do it with Hollywood elites because they'll pay a lot for it. So you can do a high-end boutique service But to make it a franchise, we had to do that weird thing. What works best for people in the smallest amount of time, and what makes money? So we created a franchise model that is unlike anything else, because we took out the stuff that works, but it takes too long. And we took out the stuff that takes too much intervention from staff. So then we said, okay, what's unique about that, right? Because anyone could have a hot dog stand if all you're doing is rolling hot dogs on a little thing. But it's not at all like that. What we're doing is an app that gets thousands of points of data. So we can prove that you're getting muscle 3 to 5 times faster than you do from lifting weights. You're getting cardio up to 10 times more effectively than normal cardio, and you're doing it in a tiny fraction of the time. We can show you that your cells and your energy metabolism are recovering, and that you're actually getting stronger, you're getting more energy. And with the time that's left over, why don't we do high-end neurofeedback to make your brain work better? When's the last time you went to the gym in an hour, you got all of that stuff in an hour? And you're like, that was the most effective use of time I ever had. I saved 7 hours of other crap this week. That's why it's a really cool franchise. People come in and it actually does more than they could do anywhere else.
So what, making your brain work better, like people listening, like I get this stuff, but I just imagine people out there listening, like, how do I get my brain to work better? What do you do to get a brain to work better?
It depends on where you are. And that's the frustrating part about biohacking. If you're like I was, with weighing 300 pounds, okay, I had a metabolic problem, and a metabolic problem will cause a brain problem. But let's assume you don't have a metabolic problem, and we'll fix the metabolic problem for you. But okay, you're within a few pounds of where you wanted to be, and you have okay cardiovascular. So what's going on? That is a wiring and a software problem. And with neurofeedback, what we're doing is we're taking in-house gear that was developed by one of my companies. It's used right now for entrepreneurs, a very high-end 5-day intensive program called 40 Years of Zen. We've got about 1,200 entrepreneurs and executives come through and spend 5 days, basically like a race car mechanic for your brain. I'm taking this and putting it in Upgrade Labs. And what that does is it allows your brain to actually see for the first time what it's doing. I didn't say it allows you to see what your brain's doing. You get that too, but your brain will self-optimize when it gets the right signal in. So we're measuring points on your brain to get the electrical signal and showing it back to you to guide you into states. It would take hours and hours, or frankly, years and years of meditation. So you come out of there and you're going, wow, my brain is more efficient. My metabolism is more efficient. I'm growing muscle. My cardiovascular system works, and I have more energy at the end of the day than I did before. Or I could go to a spin class. You see why it's a franchise?
So the hacking part, I mean, you're collapsing timeframes, massively collapsing timeframes, saving a bunch of time yourselves for busy entrepreneurs or just people that have jobs that want whatever. It's collapsing timeframes. How do you do that to build muscle?
Well, we're using mostly artificial intelligence driven algorithms on that. So imagine that all of the entire history of putting on muscle for humans has been pick up rocks, or occasionally pick up yourself, like with push-ups and things like that. That's it. Every single thing you've done has been that. And what we're saying is, what if we could use a computer instead of gravity in order to guide the amount of force that's on your muscles? Would they adapt more rapidly? And the answer is, heck yeah, they will. So you can do a few things that have less chance of injuring you than flopping around with weights with poor form. And because we're controlling exactly how quickly it goes into the body and how quickly the body responds, we can give your body a signal that says, you better put muscle on really, really quickly. It's just better than gravity. So that's what we're doing. We call that cheat machine.
So a lot of people that I know, one of their hacks is testosterone. Give me some testosterone. So what are your thoughts around that? Is this something where there are, that type of supplement? I don't even know what you call it. It's not a supplement. I don't know what you call it, but hormone. Yeah, it's a hormone. Is that part of Upgrade Labs, or is that something that is not?
Everything that we do at Upgrade Labs is non-medical. You don't need a medical license. There's franchises that include like IVs or medical franchises, or penis enhancement or whatever. There's even testosterone franchises out there, but every state has different licensing laws and for physicians. So once you get medical, it's a really, really different business to try and run. We have some functional doctors who say, I want to put an Upgrade Labs franchise across the hall, or I'll share a waiting room, whatever. Like I want to be connected with that because my patients want this, but we're not medical. Nothing in there is medical. We will allow you to do lab tests that you self-serve. So instead of going to the doctor and pricking your arm, you can get a test kit that's there at Upgrade Labs, poke your finger yourself and send it in and get the results and see it on our app. That's really cool. That's another proof point that what we're doing works. And those are cost effective, self-serve. We don't have to be the nurse. We don't have to be the doctor for you to do that. Everything else though, like if you want a prescription for testosterone, go get one. If you're low, we'll actually give you the results that show you're low, and you can show those to your doctor from a clinically certified lab. But I've been on testosterone since I was 26 because I had less testosterone than my mom when I was obese. It's a very common problem. Guys over 40 and women over 40, both are usually low in testosterone. Testosterone is the hormone of desire, not just bedroom desire, but entrepreneurial desire. So if you're like, I'm coming home into the day, things don't work, well, you might want to check your testosterone, or you might want to say, that's funny, my cells aren't making enough electricity because I eat the wrong fats, because I've got toxins, because my thyroid hormone's off, because. We can usually turn that back on just with the interventions that we have at Upgrade Labs without it being medical at all. It's just, oh, look, we trained your metabolism to make more energy. And like, yeah, I got my energy back, but if your testosterone is low and it didn't come back from that, your energy can be back, but your desire to go out and change something, to make a really successful franchise, to grow a business, to grow a network of franchises, it won't be there, whether you're a man or a woman, different levels. So I highly recommend testing, but who would have ever thought that when you use, say, the cheat machine that's putting on muscle raises testosterone, raising testosterone puts on muscle. So you'll see people regulate their hormones when their metabolism works and they get these very powerful interventions. Our job is to use our app to say what interventions are right for you. Because if you're jet lagged, you're recovering from something, you're already all blown out, you just broke up, maybe you don't want to lift real heavy today. Like maybe we'll put you through this track. So it's customizable based on you, based on your goals, and based on your state today.
What do you mean by state today?
Well, you ever wake up hungover? And you ever wake up?
No, am I getting questioned here?
Yeah, exactly. Right. And you ever wake up going, I got 8 hours of sleep last night. I had the best dinner, didn't have alcohol with dinner, so I maybe even slept a little bit better. You're like, today is just like a really good day. Your state is entirely different. Right. And we know what it's like when we're blown out and weak, but especially men, we're not that good at necessarily stopping in and self-assessing unless we've received some training for that. So you walk in and tell you what, I'm going to measure the electrical performance of your cells when you walk in the door. And if you're blown out, I'm going to know it. And if you have not enough water in your cells, because your cells are dehydrated, even if you drank 8 glasses of water, no one ever tells you how big those glasses are, but let's say you drank those. I'm going to be able to look at that right when you walk in the door. So you might walk in and go, yeah, I've got it today. You're like, man, that's not what your body says. And then we're going to put you through the right stuff for you.
So that's interesting. I love that you said non-medical. And I think that's an important distinction between, this and so many other brands out there that are medical. And you're right. I mean, the challenge of medical, especially from a buyer's perspective, there's buyers listening right now. And if you're thinking about going into a medical franchise, and I've helped people look at medical franchises from weight loss to different things. And that's always a big fear. Like I have to have somebody on staff that is licensed. And so having something like this that is non-medical, that just makes it really easy for the normal person to be able to buy and own a business like this.
I will tell you straight up, I spent probably $500,000 exploring making this a medical franchise. I've hired 2 or 3 different doctors for the experimental versions of this before I even talked about franchising. And in some states, only a medical doctor can own it. So you have to have these captive entities and all this. And if you want to do something like say IVs, which I used to offer, the doctor can leave at any time and take your entire customer base with them to their own clinic across the street. And it is a regular occurrence when you do a medical franchise, unless you're a doctor. and you want to work forever and use your medical license and your insurance, I don't think medical franchises are a great deal. You should do a medical network, which is way cheaper than a franchise to start, and it's way more effective. And just imagine you get 1,000 doctors who do IVs to spend $1,000 a month to be part of your network. It's not a franchise, and you can make a lot of money that way if you're the guy doing that. But to try and open a chain of clinics, yikes, I wouldn't want to go there. I already did that. I've already had the doctors steal the leads. I've already had them, look at patients, and any doctor who hires another doctor knows what I'm talking about. Any franchisee who's not a doctor has no clue the infighting that happens there. So I decided, hell no.
That was an easy decision.
Yeah, if you're a mobile IV clinic or something like that, set up across the street, bring your van. Like, we'll support you. We love you. I'm not doing that though, because my franchisees won't make money doing that. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm going to change millions of people's lives because you got your energy and you got your life back. And I don't want anyone to ever feel like I used to when I was in my 20s, because I was wrecked. And I also want everyone to make money. Like, it has to be self-sustaining and growing, because if you lose money, it's not going to be a long-term change in society. That's what I care about.
So you've got a franchisee opens up. One of the big questions that most franchise buyers have is, where do I get customers and how do you help me get customers? I think that that's a very enticing thing for people that would actually own or be buying a franchise, just because of your name and your background. How do you help me? That screams, easy. But who are the customers? And go into just, brag on yourself a little bit, because there's very few franchises out there that have a name that from an influencer, and that's probably not even the right way to say it, that can drive leads to local businesses.
Well, Upgrade Labs has a really unique advantage. So I have my in-house list from all of my blog and all that is slightly south of 1 million people I can email. I know where they live. All of my other portfolio companies have customer lists. So I can tell you where the demand is. And even better yet, a part of this brand is you sell stuff like lab tests and supplements. That means that I can market those supplements using digital marketing tactics. And anytime someone in your zip code, someone in your territory buys a supplement, I just got a lead for you. But the lead paid for itself because they were buying supplements. If I can only buy ads at the same amount of cost as the profit on those things, I'm getting leads I can give to you for free. And we're doing something else that's really interesting. Franchisees hate it when your franchisor is competing with you on something like supplements, but you also hate spending money on inventory, right? So here's what happens. If someone is a member of your facility and they buy supplements from the supplement company online, you get paid commission on it. So either way, but I'll go out there and I'll run the ads to help you get leads. In addition, all franchisees, or all franchise agreements that I've seen anyway, there's a small portion of it that is set aside for marketing. So we do the normal marketing stuff. It just so happens though, I've got a massive list that I don't have to pay for, and I can generate leads that pay for themselves. And as soon as that person signs up, you get paid, even if they keep buying online or they come into your store and you say you should take a bottle of this and a bottle of that. So this is disruptive to the franchise business, because most of the time, how is a local franchisee going to get leads? It's pretty tough. Well, having an in-house supplement company that is distributing within Upgrade Labs makes it far easier to do. And there's something else too. So I invented this idea of functional coffee, and I have a brand new coffee brand called Danger Coffee that's fully separate from anything I've done at Bulletproof. We have a fully functional coffee bar. So the new coffee is actually remineralized, which is something that hasn't been done in coffee before. So you come in and you're saying, oh, I wanted to make my body work better. Like, how about you have all the trace minerals that you don't get in your food anymore that you need? Oh, and by the way, did you want to do this really intense brain training here at Upgrade Labs? You're going to need it. So let's put some butter, let's put some MCT oil in. And of course, these are clean beans. It's a very noticeable difference, what happens when you get the minerals in the coffee. So that's the latest innovation. You can choose to have a functional coffee bar inside your Upgrade Labs or not. Some of the prime locations are already locked down. Sometimes Starbucks says, look, we're in this small, you can't touch coffee, then don't. You can't have it at commercial, but there's ways to get the energy people need, and that's part of this. You can't say, just come in and have a kale smoothie and get on a spin bike. It doesn't work. You can do that every day, and all you're going to get is sweaty and sore. I don't want to do that to people. You don't even need a shower when you come to labs. Your clothes can stay on. It just works so much better.
As you were talking about a lot of that stuff, I kept thinking, this is not a run on an Excel database. This is not, there's a lot of technology involved with what you're doing, and you have a background in technology. So give us, and I think it's important for franchise buyers to look at franchisors that have an understanding of marketing and utilizing technology. So can you speak to technology as that the franchisees get to participate in and get to have at their fingertips?
I was a co-founder of a major part of the company that held Google's first servers when Google was just 2 people and 2 computers. And Larry, Sergey, a couple of servers, and where can we put these? I said, we've got you. So I taught at the University of California how to build modern cloud computing stuff to working engineers. And I built, this is really important, data integration and computer security stuff, which means I know how to get data from many different devices that are within an Upgrade Labs. And then I know what to do with the data to be able to get exactly what's important. What should you do next to get the results you identified as being most important in the least possible amount of time? And what's cool about Upgrade Labs is that we're using AI to do that. And we're able to say, every time someone runs through here, then we know what works even better. So let's say, oh, look, here's someone who's 35. They're metabolically not very fit, but they want to put on muscle. They don't want to pay attention to metabolism, even though that's what they really need. So for a person who looks like that, who is a woman, who is whatever other data we have. In fact, we can integrate data from your sleep trackers, right? Who doesn't get enough sleep. For that person, they need exactly this kind of inputs to their system in order to get the results more quickly. And as soon as we see that, we see the results, it goes into the database. And the next person who looks like that gets slightly better results. So it's a self-learning system that generates huge amounts of data about how our brains work, about how our cardiovascular system works, about how your muscle and musculoskeletal system works. And so every time you come in, you get better results because everyone else is getting better results too.
A lot of people that they know the term AI, they know about artificial intelligence. I don't think the average person knows at the rate AI is growing, what it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago to what it is today. So can you give a little bit on like the evolution of AI?
Well, we used to have this term called big data. Like, oh, look, we have more data than we know what to do with. And over the past, it's really been almost 15 years, we've become better and better first at sorting the data, and then at just saying, you know what? We don't really know all these patterns in here. Hey, machine learning systems, can you step in here and tell us all the stuff that we can't see? And one of the prime early learnings from this, they figured out when they looked at people's shopping data, every Friday night, there's a spike in beer and diaper sales. Okay. What? It turns out that men on their way home from work were stopping to buy beer, and their wife, if they had kids, was saying, hey, I'm at home, I need more diapers. So there's happened. So some retailers said, let's put those together on the end of the aisle. And it turns out it actually didn't sell particularly much better. It was useless data, but it was a correlation. Well, what machine learning does that's different than that is it lets you say what actually works. So it becomes better at spotting a pattern than even the best traditional Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic or nutritionists would if it has enough data. So what we have done now is we know the algorithms to tell you, here's how to make the most change most quickly in the body. That's my body of work, all of biohacking, all the books that I've written and things like that. But what are the things we missed? Maybe you needed 10% more pressure when you were trying to get the muscles to work. Maybe you needed another 6 minutes of the high intensity custom made light therapy that's not just red and infrared that we're doing. We have a unique proprietary tech for that. And over time, it becomes stuff that I would not be able to tell you. And that's what machine learning can do. It can also fill in gaps. So we're not sure what's going to work better, it'll say this is what's most likely to work without any human knowledge there. So it is remarkable. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to TikTok or Instagram and turn on a filter. How does the filter know where your lips are to make them look all big and swollen like that? That is actually really hard to do. And it's now become a toy. That's how far AI has come. Well, imagine if instead of just giving you fluffy lips in an image, we were actually giving you biceps. Same kind of a thing.
So, little bit off subject, and then I want to go into you being non-medical. What does competition look like versus referral sources? Because I would imagine if you were medical, you'd be competing with people who are probably now referral sources. But before I get to that question, I hate cold showers. I don't mind. I live in South Dakota. I mean, I don't mind jumping in the creek when it's freezing cold. And I have buddies like, Josh and, John Rulin. Those guys they have these ice baths and they pay a bunch of money for these and they love them. And me, I'm like, I'll just go into the cold shower and I hate it. I hate the cold shower. So like, what should I do? Should I continue trying to kill myself doing cold showers? Should I invest in an ice bath? This is just a personal question. Since I had you on the podcast, I wanted to ask you.
There's two benefits you get from cold therapy. One of them is a metabolic benefit. It causes your body to actually burn a lot more calories. It gives you endorphins, and it changes something called cardiolipin in your mitochondrial membrane. If you want to think about it that way, does your Tesla have the big battery pack or the small battery pack? Well, you'll have the big battery pack in your cells if you do this regularly. You need 3 days in a row of cold therapy to get the battery pack upgrade. And then a couple times a week after that, you need to do it. That's half of it. The other half is mental toughness and showing the body that it's not going to die when you're in a cold shower. Because right now you get in a cold shower, you hate it because your body goes, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And you're letting your body win. So I'm going to tell you, you need to step up and just be like, I'm in charge. You're not in charge. And that's how it is. And it's tough. And by the way, I've had this conversation with ethically successful entrepreneurs at 40 years as in my neuroscience, high performance thing. It's very common. So when you're doing a cold shower, it needs to hit your forehead and your chest to work well. It needs to be 1 minute. And you can't even do 1 minute when you first get in there because you'll get a headache from it. So you work your way up over the course of 3 days. Like, Dave Asprey's a jerk. I don't know about this Upgrade Labs thing. And then on the fourth day, you're like, oh my God, it went for a minute. And it not only did it feel okay, it felt better than okay. So now there are actually probably some franchises, I haven't seen them, but I'm sure someone's thinking about it with ice baths. Guys, let me just be straightforward. If you need shared water that you stick your body in the middle of a pandemic, that isn't transmitted through water, but people don't know that. And you need showers, which means health department codes, you're maybe bad at business. Okay, I'm just gonna have to say it. That is a terrible business model, even though having an ice bath at home is kind of a luxury. I've had one for years. I also have liquid nitrogen. And I have a walk-in cryo. That takes 3 minutes. So what we're doing at Upgrade Labs is it turns out that cryo is not a good business in many large cities because it's already saturated. It's basically a sun tanning kind of a business. Come on in, it's $20, do cryo, we'll play some live music, it's gonna be cool. You're not gonna make a lot of money doing that. So in markets where it's underserved, we have an option where you can have cryo, but you don't need liquid nitrogen. Operationalizing this was really tough. So you can do cryo if you want to do cryo, but I'll tell you straight up, in most markets, you don't need cryo, but in some markets you do. So we put that on there. I've been operating cryo in LA for 7 years now, I think. And it's gone from being, oh my God, that's amazing. That's a $150 thing to that's $10. And the cost of liquid nitrogen is $6. Yep. So you might consider just making a coffee shop, just plain old coffee, if that's the kind of margins you want. That's not what I'm looking to do. So that said, if you're in a place where you can't get it anywhere else, go for it. And that's how the mindset is how do I make it so that you're going to be able to give people what's most impactful? If no one in your city can get access to cryo and you can do a 3-minute standing in cold air, you should add that to your Upgrade Labs franchise. And that's why we have that there. We already have all the training, we have all the knowledge, but I'm not going to tell everyone to do something in a market that's saturated. I just want you to make a lot of money. So you open another one of these things because we need a massive footprint of thousands of these across the country. We can fix metabolic problems that 80% of people have. I firmly believe that if Upgrade Labs was present and most people were going to it regularly, well, you can look at all-cause mortality and metabolic fitness. People are actually longer lived, they're more resilient, they're less likely to succumb to anything when your cells can make electricity. And I know how to do that. And I know how to do it in almost no time. It's way better than the gym. So we can make people's quality of life better, and we can make people harder to kill. So I think we should do that.
That's it. We make people harder to kill. That might be the name of the podcast here. The title, We Make People Harder to Kill. Boy, there's a lot to unpack there. You mentioned, I might be thinking of you in my next shower. And then I thought, how many people are thinking about Dave when they're in a cold shower? So you got a lot of people thinking about you in their showers, I'm sure.
Is that normal?
I don't know. Not for
Don't
me.
think about me in the shower.
Well, you said next time I'm in the shower and be thinking about you, but I'll be thinking about mental toughness. I will not be thinking about you. But that's a good thing. I did 75 hard. Caleb, my man here, he said he's starting 75 hard tomorrow, and it's -12. So I think if he should kind of kill two birds with one stone, go out in his Speedos for 45 minutes, 3 days in a row, Caleb. That's what you need to do, my man. 45. But no,
that's the thing about cold therapy, is that if I used to do this maybe 10 years ago when I started writing about cold therapy and was making it part of the biohacking movement, I would say, all right, just if something is good, more of it's better. And this is still really common. It turns out with cold, that's not true. Brief, intense cold exposure is much better than chronic cold exposure. So there's a reason that a Russian mom or a traditional Chinese medicine doctor will say, keep your feet warm already, like you'll catch cold, right? They call it catching a cold for a reason. So being chronically chilled is bad, but being briefly really cold, so your body's like, oh, there might be a blizzard anytime. I should be ready for a blizzard. But if you actually have to stand in a blizzard every day, it's not going to end well.
Hey, Caleb, we want to make you non-diable. So I will not tell them to do it for 45 minutes. Just last question on the shower. What is an optimal time once you've kind of worked up to it to be in a cold shower?
Just 1 minute in 3 cycles. So you can do 1 minute of cold, turn it back on warm, 1 minute of cold, turn it back on warm, 1 minute of cold, end on cold.
Cool. Done. All right. Let's shift gears again to different topic. Competition versus referral sources. And this is why I'm asking this question. There's a lot of fitness concepts out there, a ton of fitness concepts. And then there's some stretching concepts where they stretch you out, and they get referral sources from all of the fitness concepts. They're all referral sources versus competition. So I'd imagine that there's some similarity with your brand, that you're going to have referral sources that might at first glance be seen as competition. Is that true?
Oh yeah, there's tons of people who will be making referrals because we focus on metabolic fitness and recovery. So let's say that you're a bodybuilder or a functional movement trainer. Okay. My job is to get people to have enough bone density and to have the main muscle groups strong so that they look and feel good. But I am not doing functional training. We're not doing muscle crossovers. I don't actually care about, this little thing over here. Like, oh, look, actually, I have to show off my caffeine tattoo. So like, I don't really care if I can make this methyl group jump. It doesn't matter. Okay. This isn't what we do. So you're going to work with the high-end trainers, going to say, you know what, you're going to do better if you go into Upgrade Labs, you do the full recovery stuff that they do, right? Maybe even do their cardio stuff because it's way faster, and take the extra time you saved and come back here and let's do some more sculpting, or let's do some more rehab work of your rotator cuff. We're not touching any of that stuff. So it leaves room for personal trainers, a ton of room for personal trainers to work with people. I got frustrated because when I was young and I was fat and I was looking to figure out what was wrong with my biology, I would drive around. It's Friday, I got a day off work. I'll just drive to one place and do one thing, drive to another place and do another thing. We've got all the gear in one place. So you can come in and do strength versus cardio versus metabolic or energy-based fitness, which you can't even get anywhere else, right? And then neurofeedback, which you also can't get anywhere else other than maybe a psychologist's office. And this is in a structured way with AI helping. So that saved me at least an hour and a half of driving around. And that was a big part of this, but there is no notion of stretching here. I'll soften you up with some of the tech will make your cells work better. But if you were to do what we have and then go straight into your rehab person or someone who's working with you on stretching, it's a great partnership. It is not competition. I'm not even competing with gyms. You'll go to the gym if you like the spin class or you want a whole bunch of different muscle groups. It's not what we do. We're going to get 4 main muscle groups that give you the most muscle mass and the most bone density and the most metabolic fitness. Because I hate to tell you, for every person who goes to the gym, there's 10 more people who don't go to the gym because it doesn't work very well. If you just wanted to be an entrepreneur, you just wanted to focus, you don't want your body to hurt, and you want to be in good shape, but you don't want to be a bodybuilder and you don't want to go to the gym for the social aspects, which is a great reason to go. Like, I'm going to come here, I'm going to have coffee with friends, we're going to recover very, very quickly. So I want my time back. That's when you come to Upgrade Labs. I want my energy back. So you come to Upgrade Labs. I want to go lift with the bros, go to the gym. You can do both. It's okay.
Let's talk about ideal franchisee. And I think we've done some interesting things here because one of the reasons I wanted you on, because it's such a cool concept, but I wanted to use this as educational for buyers out there to understand why I like things about this. That's why I wanted to bring in competition, referral sources, and the non-medical versus medical. And, I wanted to kind of, as people are thinking about buying brands out there, these are some of the things that you need to think about. You need to think about technology. You need to think about marketing. There's all kinds of things that you should think about beyond the normal stuff that most buyers look at when they're buying a franchise. So let's talk about ideal buyer. Who in your mind is an ideal buyer, an ideal owner of a franchise?
Well, it helps that I've hired the first employee from Orange Theory to work as part of my franchise team. And my head of franchise sales has 20 years of operating and selling franchises. So he's been an operator. What I'm looking for is someone who's run a franchise before, because it's a different world than just being an entrepreneur. Okay? I teach a lot of entrepreneurs. I'm an advisor and board member and investor in more than 24 companies. And I've done substantially more than $500 million in revenue for my own companies over their life. So I am an entrepreneur, but operating a franchise is different than, say, building a Bulletproof Coffee or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand the local aspects of your market, and you have to be more in touch with it, right? And you have to be able to hire the right team. And a franchise team to run a location is different than my executive team across my portfolio of companies today. So different flavor of entrepreneur. So someone who just has done it before. And what I love to do is pair someone like that who's with someone who is a true believer in biohacking. And the good news is I've got more than 1,000 people interested in this already because of what I do in the world. And we're getting more leads regularly. So the idea is, how do we pair people up? So we've got the financial investor, right? We've got the passion, and we've got the operations experience. And I'm looking for that combination of those three, whether it's in one person or 2 people, or sometimes even 3 people when we're doing a region. And that just about assures success, because having the understanding this stuff changes lives way, way more than a sub sandwich shop, which is another kind of franchise, way, way more even than a so-called healthy food chain, and way, way more than a normal gym. Like, people come in with tears in their eyes regularly saying, I can't believe that my neck doesn't hurt. How come my doctor didn't do this? Okay, we're not doctors, but we understand biology and we have tech helping. So this is like, it's really intense, actually. Like, the tears do happen from people. They do not happen when they come in and say, I just hit my PR on a bench press. It's cool when you do that, but it's not the same.
And that's an important piece. I mean, I've been a part of other brands where you are making an impact, and you don't even realize you're making an impact until you have somebody come in with tears and they tell you how you changed their lives, their life. And so that's a real thing. I've seen it. And I would imagine that this is just going to 10X with what I've experienced in other brands that really helps people. I think it's really smart to have somebody like you did from Orange Theory to come in with franchising experience and franchise sales experience. I coach a lot of franchisors on franchise development, selling franchises, and it's really difficult when they have a founder trying to sell franchises that's never sold franchises before, or they haven't sold many. So you're doing so many things the right way.
Let me be straightforward, man. I am a computer hacker. When I started Bulletproof, I was VP of cloud security at a publicly traded security company. I have no business running a coffee business. Guess who my first major hire was? The first employee of Starbucks. I just hire people who know the business better than I do, and I give them lots and lots of leeway and support, and I remove obstacles. And that's what I'm doing as CEO of Upgrade Labs. I have people who know more about franchising than I ever will, who've done more than 1,000 locations between them. And we're making it work for franchisees, because my customer is the franchisee. It is not the person walking in the door. The person walking in the door is your customer. Good news is your customer already knows who I am, and I probably talk to them also, and I'm just going to point him in the door. And I think it works out as a win-win for everyone. But man, I have no business as a computer hacker running a franchise. I would fail. I can run a franchisor because I have a great team. That's all it's about. And for people thinking about being the kind of entrepreneur who has a chain of franchises, hear what I just said there. If you don't know how to do it, it's your job to find someone who does, not necessarily your job to go out and learn it yourself, because it's expensive to learn it yourself. You don't have to do that. Like, hire someone to teach you, hire someone to do it for you. And that's how you make a really successful franchise.
That's a business hack. You got the biohacking, the computer hacking, the business hacking. Most people don't do that, but that's absolutely critical. I've seen it done in the senior care space. The people that do the best in the senior care space, which is a very difficult business, but they go hire somebody that has all the relationships with all of the nurses and the discharge nurses at the hospitals, and they hire them, they pay them more than they should, but that's how they grow businesses really fast. You can absolutely, that's the way to do it. That's the way to build businesses. That's the way that I like to build businesses too. So what else are we missing from what do you want the audience to know about Bulletproof Labs that we have not been able to get into yet?
Labs.
Upgrade Labs.
Gotta show respect for the Bulletproof brand there. What I want people to understand is that you have so much time on the planet, and you can do something that matters, that makes money, or you can do something that doesn't matter, that makes money. And you might make a ton of money cleaning gutters. There's a whole franchise out around that. And I absolutely respect that gutters need cleaning. And if that's what you're called to, full respect. If you feel like you want to do something that's changing people's lives to the point where they have more energy, this is probably a good franchise for you. And it comes down to that when people have enough energy, they're nice to each other. So you can have someone who comes up and yells at you about your status for whatever latest government thing that's going to change. Whatever your perspective on it is, it doesn't matter. Someone's yelling because they're tweaked, right? If you have enough energy, it's not going to land. And you're like, that person's not doing well today. I'll just step to the side, right? But if you don't have enough energy, you're going to yell back. And imagine if you have hundreds or thousands of customers come through, and every one of them every day has the ability to just step to the side and be calm and be kind. I'm building that world as fast as I can, and we need that more than ever. And that's why Upgrade Labs is the thing to do.
So if somebody wants to find out more about Upgrade Labs, where do they go?
ownandupgradelabs.com.
ownandupgradelabs.com. Dave, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Franchise Secrets Podcast. Whether you're watching or listening, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to whatever channel you're listening on. If you want my help with anything from buying a franchise to franchising your business, please visit franchisesecrets.com.